So we already did 111,000. Let's now see. 111,000 in the previous turn, plus 96. Oh my god, this is so crazy. And Dang Heng automatically pushes himself, and with 3 stacks again, we're still sitting at 5 stacks, 218,000 with 5 skill points remaining to go into the next rotation, which means we're so SP positive. We are so... Hey everyone, it's TimaeuSS here, and welcome to another Honkai Star Rail video. And Dang Heng Imbibitor Lune is here. He's actually so crazy. And I say that as an E6 S5 Sele owner and an E6 Kafka owner. He is absolutely bonkers. I don't know what Mihoy was thinking when they created this monstrosity, but he is too damn strong. Well, in this video, we're going to take a look at his build guide as well as teammate choices. And we're going to take Dang Heng into the memory of Shenzhou Mach 6, which is last stage, harder than Mach 10 in Memory Chaos actually. And it's going to be a comparison between his E0 build as E2 build, because at E2, he basically doubles his damage output and he becomes even more phenomenal hyper carry. It's just, I can't stress enough that how crazy this guy is. So let's take a look. Well, first of all, his Lycon. If you have his Lycon, that's the best, obviously, the best signature going to run on him. I will take a look at some of the CM Bros analysis, and potentially there are other choices available, but so far, his Lycon just does so much for him as a unit. In terms of his gear at the moment, you can run, basically, the Musketeer of the Wild Wheat, and it's fantastic because this is a set we get from Echoes of War, so we probably have a few decent pieces out there, and we go for this set because of damage increase from the 4-piece set, along with the speed and the attack percentage. They all matter, right? DI is always important, damage increase DI, attack buff is always great, and the speed is fantastic because you can get him to 134, allowing you to take 2 turns in the first cycle, which will matter for him. And if you have really good gear with good substats, you can even go for attack boost to still reach that 134. Now the inner 2 pieces are going to be the Rutilant Arena. This increases the crit rate by 8%, and Dang Heng already has a pretty high crit rate plus crit damage, so this is definitely going to be quite easy to reach the 70 mark to give you that extra attack and skill damage increase, so get a nice 20% DI on top of that. And going back to Dang Heng, of course you want to pair him up with SP positive units as teammates. As you can see, Dang Heng is quite skill point hungry. In terms of his skills, he's going to consume SP points to enhance his attacks. It's basically QQ on steroids, alright? And the reason why I say E2 changes him completely is because when he's E2 and you use your ultimate, you gain 3 stacks of the orb. They call it the Sacramenta something. And those orbs you can consume instead of skill points. So every time you ult at E2, you automatically get a 100% action bar boost, so you take your turn immediately after you ult, and you get a free max enhanced attack, which will do insane amounts of damage when you see it. Now, in terms of the team composition, I honestly think Luocha is one of the best unit to pair with him, because of the fact that Luocha is really skill point positive. You will be able to keep your team alive while offering that support, and E1 Luocha even offers that attack boost. Now, if you don't have Luocha, you can use Gepard, and in terms of the other supports, Pela is a very wonderful choice because Pela is, again, very skill point positive. With the event cone from Silver Wars event, move out of the way, this one, and you'll be able to use 2 basic attacks and you will have your ultimate up. So this is really good. And in terms of other supports, you can technically use Ting Yun with Pela, or one of my favorite is actually using Bronya. Now, speed tuning does matter. You can see I'm at 133. Go for 134 to be safe, but if you know your decimal places, then 133 will still allow you to go twice in the Memory of Chaos, which means that the typical turn, as you could see later on in the showcase, is Dang Heng into Bronya push, into Dang Heng attacking again, probably gets an ultimate up after that, and if you E2, Dang Heng goes again with a max enhanced attack. I mean, it's gonna look so strong in the showcase part, in the latter section of this video, so go check it out. But you can also use Yukong if you don't want to use Bronya or other supports. Yukong, but you need Yukong E6 because you have to use Yukong's E6, which gives the attack buff, the crit buff, and all that buff every time you ult without having to expand Yukon's skill points, because again, the name of the game is Dan Heng is going to be very skill point hungry. And if you still want to use Bronya at E0, you can technically use Dan Heng's non-enhanced attack because you're not under the Bronya buff. And once it's Bronya turn and you buff Dan Heng and Dan Heng takes his turn, then go for the extra attack. This allows you to cycle much better, and you have a decent uptime on the max enhanced attack. Well, without further ado, we've talked about it, and in terms of the relic main stats, chest is going to be crit damage, because again, Dan Heng gets quite a bit of crit rate, so if you can run crit damage, go with that. You want to go for a 221, so you can see I'm 221, about 80 to 160. And the boots, if you can get away with attack boots while still maintaining 134 speed, go for that. Otherwise, speed boots is always the best choice. And inner two pieces, attack rope and damage increase, elemental damage increase orb. But if you have very good attack orb, that's okay as well, because for Dan Heng, damage increase orb and attack orb's difference is actually very insignificant, under 5%. Well, without further ado, let's take a look at the Memory of Shenzhou showcase. And here we go. We are in the Memory of Shenzhou Stage 6, the final memory chaos for the Shenzhou stage. And let's take Dan Heng to the test. Again, this is E0. I'll showcase E2's damage. It's going to be so busted. But mainly this is to show the rotation. Okay, starting off with Bronya's attack boost and Luocha's aura. And we'll start with Dan Heng's Leaping Dragon. Now, lots of variations are available for the team comp. I'll probably make another more detailed guide, but this is the comp I like the most personally, with Pela's super positive skill point regen by using the tutorial clone from the Silver Wolf event, and then Luocha is another very SP positive unit. Here you have a very important decision to make. We know our Dan Heng is 134, 135, just above the 133 point something repeated needed to get 2 attacks in before the first cycle. So we can see we're already capped on the skill points, so we can technically, using the orb that we gained, do 2 sets of attacks here. Alright, this will give us 4 skill points remaining, which then Bronya can use to push Dan Heng here, and Dan Heng can still go for 3 stacks. So let's take a look at the initial damage. 84,000 with just the Bronya push. It's going to be quite crazy. You have a decision to make whether or not to use Dan Heng's ultimate here, but you could save it, or you could use it right after Dan Heng's skill. It really is up to you. Now here, I'll just use this attack, and then following up with Dan Heng's attack. And I'm going to save Pela's ultimate for the next one. But you can see the ultimate didn't do that much damage because, again, we did not have the Bronya's buff under that. But I wanted to do this combination so that we have a bit more in terms of the skill point coming into the second wave. We're still sitting at 0 cycles. So defense down is applied. Let's just get this through. And well, the spell. And still, Pela is going to auto attack, and Luocha is going to basic attack as well. So we're just at the maximum 5 stacks again, right? Because we planned that. If you saw Luocha's last move, it gave us the last skill point needed, and then we will go into a 87. Okay, look, this is starting off in Dan Heng's 1 cycle, 87,000 damage. Bronya push into Bronya ult. We'll keep count of how much damage is doing. This is just Dan Heng Bronya's first set of moves. Alright, that was 87 into, how much is this? 146. And this is before defense buff from these fishes are applied. And we still follow up with Dan Heng's ultimate. So 87, 146 is already 200 something plus 141. We just did nearly 400,000 damage just by Dan Heng moving and then Bronya moving. And of course, this is why I really like Pela with the new setup, because now we have our ult up again for Pela. It's every 2 basic attack into an ult, and this defense break is going to be massive. Now, we can go, we have a very important choice to make. We can go all in here, but the problem with this is we only have 2 orbs plus 3, so we're looking at 5 skill points. Bronya is going to use 1, so we're technically looking at only 4, right? So the smart choice here would wait for the next Bronya push, but we also need to check, do we still have Bronya's ultimate buff? Okay, do we still have Bronya's ultimate buff? So Bronya's ultimate 55% and crit damage boost. Right, so we can technically wait for the next cycle if we want to, or wait for the Bronya. It's really up to you, but we still have the stacks, so it is slightly better right now to use it. So what we would do is let's just go all in. Here we go. 186. 186. And of course we can do Bronya push here, and we'll be able to get a one stack attack off, right? So you can see we can do one stack, and we'll do this. So if we count the damage, that was nearly 400 plus 50,000 plus 140 something thousand. So in a mere one cycle, we're doing more than 600,000. This is absolutely insane. I cannot believe how broken Heng is. And of course, we'll transition right now into E2 to show you who is the king of DPS. And how we're here with E2 Daniel. So let me tell you guys, if there's any unit that I recommend pulling for E2, it will be Heng. Because we know that after each Eidolon, the units, they get more powerful. But Heng at E2 essentially doubles his output, which no other 5 stars has that power. Alright, it's honestly bonkers. So the rotation is going to look the same when it's Daniel's turn. We're already at 5 skill points. So here we just do 2. Alright, we just do 2, similar to what we did before, because if we just do 2, then Bronya will be able to push Daniel, and he will get the max 3 stacks. So let's do that. Now the crazy part, I'll show you the crazy part. So I'm spamming Daniel's ult right now, and the difference this time is that we're gonna ult with Daniel. It's probably gonna kill everyone, but once we ult, it's his turn again. 3 full orb stacks. It's the Squam Sacrosancta went all the way back to 3. This is why with the Cooler Daniel upgrade, he's actually going to be so damn strong. Now the rest, very similar, and we actually will be able to enter the next wave with a lot more skill points. So here we go, and we wait for the enemy to take her first turn, and then we apply the defense buff, so it lasts a bit longer. And since Luocha has already moved and applied that heal, he is at full, so we'll do this, then apply the flower field. So the flower field lasts an extra turn, but I think I ulted a bit early and didn't wait for Luocha's turn to end. Now, okay, so this is the crazy part. Are we ready? Let's see what the Cooler Daniel at E2 does. Okay, this is going to be absolutely insane. It's going to be so crazy. So we start off with a 3 skill SP attack that we saved from the last one. 111,000, okay? 111,000. Let's just keep track. This is just between Daniel's turn and then Bronya's turn. Let's take a look at how many turns will transpire. Bronya will push into Bronya's ult, and we'll now start. So we already did 111,000. Let's now see. 111,000 in the previous turn, plus 96. Oh my god, this is so crazy. And Heng automatically pushes himself, and we have 3 stacks. Again, we're still sitting at 5 stacks, 218,000, with 5 skill points remaining to go into the next rotation, which means we're so SP positive. We are so SP positive. E2 honestly breaks Heng so much, because now we can do 2 stacks. Let's just do 2 stacks here, and then Bronya will be able to push Heng. Heng will go 3 stacks, gain full maximum energy back, and then we are going to be able to ult. Okay, we will ult, and look at the insane amounts of damage coming out. We ult, it is 100% action bar boost, and 100,000 damage coming out into another 3 stacks. Oh my god, we just did over 800,000 damage in one cycle coming out from the Cooler Daniel. Crazy stuff. Anyhow, let me know your thoughts. I think he absolutely breaks the game entirely, and go for E2. If you have the ability, go for E2. He is going to be the hyper carry that will basically destroy everything. Alright, it's TimaeuSS here, and I will see you guys in the next guide where we talk about the other team compositions and variations, because not everyone's going to have Locha, and not everyone will have Dang Heng with his Kong or Bronya with her Kong in comparison. So, see you guys in a bit.